Hello, flower friends. This is Jen. And on this week's, and actually, I've done kind of a lot of episodes about this recently, but today I want to talk about how to actually start making money in your floral business. And there are several layers to this, you guys. But the core message that I really want you to understand is that you can be booked out, exhausted, but still broke. Because that was me. I did 125 weddings and made no money. So I really want you guys to step back. And if you, let's just say, are at the beginning part of your journey and you're just starting, like trying to figure out what way is up, how you're going to do this, how to price things, how to realistically just like how to do anything. How do you scale an event? How do you produce an event? How do you do anything? You can still at that point, at this very point, figure out how to make money. So I think many florists and this identity actually was very tight, very close to the cuff for me. I felt like if a lot of people were hiring me, that equated to me being successful. I equated busyness with success. And I equated like revenue as being successful. So like when I hit, that magical $100,000 mark a million years ago, I was like, "Oh my god, like, it hit that." And then you look at all your expenses, you look at, the labor that because especially I was working full time, the labor that it took to get there, like all these things just were like, "Holy shit." I didn't make hardly any money even though I was really, really busy. Then I also didn't feel like I had any time freedom. I mean, I was booked like every weekend and there's one really memorable weekend. I did 9 weddings and a funeral. Like it sounds like a movie, but it was 9 weddings and a funeral I did in one weekend. And like thinking about that now gives me the ick because like I was just going and I was going hard. I was taking care of my dad at the time. I was in a relationship with someone who was like a toddler, basically. And like I was taking care of everything. I was being the breadwinner. I was taking care of the house. I was taking care of like the majority of everything in our life. And he was coasting along. And that felt heavy. I was working full time. I like it was just a lot. And then I worked my ass off and made no money. And maybe you have in it I feel like I fundamentally am built different than most. I like working. I actually enjoy working hard. But if I'm going to work hard, I better make fucking money doing it. And that was a big shift for me because this previous identity that I had was just like being busy equal being successful, meant I was cool and meant that, all these other, like the fraudy feeling validators came into mark. Like, look at how, validated I am because all these people want to buy me to hire me. But being booked every weekend doesn't mean inevitably that you're building wealth. Profit is what is left after flowers, labor, overhead, screwing up, waste, stress. Most busy florists are burnt out. But profitable florists build systems. So the first thing, and I have talked a lot about this system, but I've done whole episodes dedicated to this. The profit first method of running your business to me for a long time was really hard for me to wrap my head around. I'm like, how can I estimate making profit? How can I even go into this with thinking that there's this formula that I can actually do? But after coaching so many florists and looking at so many florist numbers, I love to talk about money. If you're in your business and you're like, I don't know, like, which way is up with my financials, like, none of it makes sense. I don't know, like, how to break down things. I don't know how to look at success. Like, I would love to dig in that with you because to me, like, that is super fun. That is super giving to really dig in because inevitably, at some point, your worth will get tied to the amount of money. And that might not even be with you personally. It could be with your partner, your spouse, if you have children. Like, I remember I used to teach fitness classes and I had Bella and I was going to go back. And I went back for a couple classes and, you make 25 to like $35 an hour to teach a lot of these classes. And like that value superseded, like being with her superseded the value of me, having fun and doing that, something that I had loved for years and years, years before that. And my motherhood value superseded that it wasn't worth that amount of money to be away from them. So there's always some balance of competition internally, like it's time, money often go together because, you know, to me, time freedom is the ultimate freedom. And if you are running around and I mean, and I have done this, you guys. I am the first to say, like, Bodie, my son had his birthday party this weekend, and this one of his friends from school, we invited everybody from school, you guys. So this was also a first because now we're in a school that like you do that. You give birthday invitations to everybody. And we had 12 kids come in totality, including Bodhi. So it was like 11 kids showed up. And I'm talking to this mom, and she is a stay-at-home mom that has a kindergartner and a first grader. She's pregnant again and due in July. She's a little crunchy granola mom, doesn't really believe in a lot of like mainstream ideals. And you know what? I am here for that on some things for sure. But, she was like, so what do you do? And I was telling her all the things like, the floral business and the weddings and growing flowers and the coaching business. And then, like all the things with the farm business that I've been dreaming about and these workshops that I'm going to be hosting. And she looked at me dumbfounded, like, how is that even possible? And she's like, how do you do all of that? And I was like, I genuinely run at a higher level than most. I've always been built that way. I like having busy, but as I've gotten older, definitely time with the kids, I've prioritized things in a different way and they have been tied more to like something being profitable rather than me just having to do something to do something. And it really like she looked at me like dumbfounded, like that, how is that even possible? So I do know that different generations, I think she's, 10-ish years younger than me. Different generations and actually just different humans have different thresholds. And so I fundamentally like to work. I fundamentally like to win. And, if I get these things done, I win the day. If I get things done this week, I win the week. If I get these things done this year, like I've won the year. And I live my life in a state of wanting to win. And the first part of that is really measurement. How can you actually grow something that you have no idea what the actual measurement base is? So when I really changed, the way I was looking at my business, I wasn't looking at the number of weddings, which I had really focused on. I was really focusing on like the averages and how can I increase that average? So if you own a retail shop or, even as a florist, What is your average wedding order value? What is your average order value? I love the conversations in the Floral CEO mastermind because we were actually talking about somebody did less for Valentine's Day, but their average order in value increased by almost $50. It was a 40% increase in their average order value. And, I wanted to lean in on like what that felt like because working really, really hard and hardly making any money, it will inevitably not feel good at some point. So, looking at metrics that you can go, is this success? I mean, I've had girls in the mastermind and that I've one-on-one coached that they've grown their wedding revenue as a full functioning retail shop. They've grown their wedding revenue by 50% in 1 year after working with me. I've seen people go from they're just starting their business to booking out like 12 weddings in their first year of really launching their business, and going, full steam into wanting to book weddings. I but they need to do that profitably because if they keep just booking weddings and they're not pricing correctly and all the fundamentals, which are things that I teach in the Floral CEO Mastermind, like that catches up with you. So there's this balance of those measurements. And to me, profitability is a measurement. So if you're pricing for profit, you're inevitably, the business will feel better. And honestly, underpricing is the number one reason florists don't make money because you aren't going into or you're over delivering. Over delivering was something that I have gone hard into over delivering. Like I have had somebody give me this really shitty budget and I really liked them and I really loved the flower colors. Or I really loved when I went to the wholesaler, I fell in love with all this shit at the wholesaler. Pricing to be nice or to be affordable is going to be a slow death. I saw in this, if you are a wedding florist and you are not in your state's bride Facebook groups, I definitely would go join because for one, it's fascinating to see the questions that are asked, but I also think it is a way to really insert yourself with some consistency and frequency because even if that bride didn't, actually, post that post, another bride could be looking at it and seeing your name frequently whenever there's a flower post, I think creates brand frequency, which is super important. So when we go in and we're underpricing, we're really like the person that we're drastically hurting is ourselves. But often we're comparing ourselves when we look on Instagram and we see my joke is like you're showing me something on Pinterest or you're showing me something on Instagram that like a Minnesota Vikings, that was their wedding. Or it was, some New York socialite's wedding or just something that isn't in the realm of that person. Like they went big. They spent a ton of money. And then that gets you feeling like you need to go commensurate from a look standpoint. If you price out something properly and it would cost $400, but the person's got a $200 budget. I have had so many florists go, how can I make this work? You're not supposed to. You will not be profitable if you make somebody else's agenda work. Just because their budget is unrealistic doesn't mean that yours is. Like, you deserve to make money. Your pricing teaches people how to treat you. And that goes from, like a basic bride reaching out for a la carte or a wedding planner that's looking for a $30,000 full service wedding. Like your communication, your pricing is really dictating. And then inevitably that affects your profitability. When I started and honestly, like, relationships that I've had have shifted with this belief shift that if I am going to do something, I am going to make money at it. So I want you to really feel that. Like, hold your hand over your chest and go, "When I do something, I deserve to make money for it." You are not a nonprofit. You should stop running your business like one if you are not making money. Stop comparing yourself to more experienced florists. Just be somebody who's doing a kick-ass job, who loves what they do and makes money at it. We don't need to prove anything to anybody. We just need to prove to ourselves that this feels good and is worth our time because those are like I think feeling good in your business and making something worth your time are two of the biggest struggles that I see florists kind of run through. And somebody feels better about it after they go and they're like, "Oh my god, I can." I've had people tell me that ultimately like they don't want to touch weddings with a 10-foot pole and they would rather chase, daily deliveries. And when I go through the mental bandwidth doing 30 daily deliveries or one wedding takes, like there's just so much clarity in going, okay, I could do like one big thing, or I could be worried about how to find 30 people to do an order from me that week. So really just think about, am I pricing for profit or am I operating my business out of fear? Am I doing things out of fear, which are disabling my ability to make profit? All right. Then, one big thing that I think I've settled into and that I try to teach anybody that does coaching with me is that we don't need to do everything. We need to really focus on what makes us money. Every year in January, we do a goal setting workshop. And in that, we dive into really just like what made you money and what didn't, what drained you, what filled your cup, all of those things. And so going through, because not all revenue streams are created equal. I have had, and I think it's fascinating when I do, start coaching somebody new. I ask them, like, what are your revenue buckets? What are you actually making money from? What do you feel like? And honestly, if you own a retail shop, audit your deliveries because I guarantee if you have delivery staff, a delivery vehicle insurance, and all those other things, and you're not charging accordingly for deliveries, you could easily be losing money. I've coached 3 retail shops that were losing money on delivering flowers, which is crazy because it is a service and you deserve to make money for it. And where could anybody else get, I've had some home-based florists are like, "Oh, it was really close, so I delivered something for $5." Or my delivery fee is like $10 if it's within 15 minutes of my house. Absolutely not. I am not going to get my cold ass in Minnesota in a car, go drive somewhere 15 minutes away, and then drive back for $10. Absolutely not. Like, you are not operating at your value. You can't even pay somebody. It would cost more if you had an hourly employee and they're making, let's just say, $20 an hour, and it took them 30 minutes round trip for that delivery. You just lost money, you guys. Because by time that you not only paid that person for a half hour at $20 an hour, that's $10, then you're gonna be paying their Social Security match, you're gonna be paying their unemployment, their workman's comp, and then you're also gonna be paying for that vehicle, wearing down the brakes, potentially all the insurance related with it. I mean, you lost money in that case. So, try to find the holes in your ship and either plug them and cement the shit out of it so it's not happening again, or sometimes things just need to go away, especially if they're draining your energy because I I was coaching somebody recently and like I absolutely love her. She's so adorable, but she is like the energizer bunny that wants to make everybody happy and wants just business, 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 which I absolutely love. But you shouldn't be doing something as the CEO in your business unless it's like a 50 to $100 an hour task. And that cracks a lot of people when they're just like, "What?" It's like, no, your brain, if you created the space with all the things that you've accomplished, if you created that space, you could create some other kick-ass thing that could be your next moneymaker. And we need to start showing up there where we have space and capacity and maybe even time to like sit in and go like look at all of this. Look at what I've done. And that could be, on any number of things. Like, I mean, you could be a wedding business, an event florist that all of a sudden thought that they were going to do daily orders or thought that you were going to do funerals or a la carte or, you wanted to switch to some other thing. It doesn't matter the thing. If you test the thing and it makes you miserable or doesn't make you any money, like that's a problem. We but having that moment of reflection is the biggest game changer. So you need to be able to step back to have that moment of reflection. Is this working? Is this sort of working? Or is this not working at all? What would make it better? What could I do to optimize it? What is the actual ROI on it? And actually digging into that makes such a big difference. My main thing is I would love for you to make more money without working more. So how can you increase profit without working anymore? You don't always need more clients to do that. You need better margins. So how do you increase margin? And also this was something that I struggled with. How do you increase margin but then not feel like you're doing a disservice to your clients? Because I often felt I was like, "Oh my god, I can't charge that." Because like, that's not a good value for my client because I used to. And I've had relationships with decorators and I've had relationships with wedding planners that they just wanted me to give away everything. Like they were just stuck in pricing 5 years ago when we've, had price adjustments, cost of living increases, a million different things. Like labor costs more than it did 5 years ago, rightfully so. The world costs more than it did 5 years ago. So some some ways that that you can increase your margins not just by going and getting more clients would be to raise your minimum, improve markups on things, making sure you're charging accordingly for a setup and delivery. That is an easy way to sink your ship. I had a event decorator that I'm doing a wedding with that's actually they're from the cities. They're going to be doing a wedding at a venue really close and she just couldn't wrap her head around, this delivery charge that I was charging. Because I told her I will need to rent a U-Haul. It is 8 big size urns and then there were like some sweetheart table things and blah blah blah. So these 8 urns alone will not fit in my van. An 8-foot, kind of 4 by 8 foot van footprint. Not gonna happen. So I need that. So then she said, "Well, I wonder we're going to have a U-Haul. Wonder if we could pick them up so that you could just mean it." And I said, "Okay, I'm guessing it's going to cost me $150 to rent said U-Haul. If you want, I am about 30 minutes from the venue. By time you exit the highway and go the 15 miles out of the direct path, and then the 30 minutes, that's about 45 miles. but you're going to have to go to the venue first to unload said car. So you're realistically going to be driving 60-ish miles. And not only are you going to incur the mileage for that, so the mileage alone at $1.29 a mile, you're going to spend $90. And then you're going to have to hire said team to drive to my studio. I need to be there to help load up and then drive it there, and then I need to get paid for driving there and setting it up. So, $150, I mean, that wasn't my setup fee, was way more than that, but that's what I'm allocating towards a rental car. And if you wanna circumvent that, go right ahead. I don't think that they even saw that that wasn't they didn't look at the details that make that up. And when you make and I really in 2026, I'm trying to make data-based decisions instead of feeling or even scarcity-based decisions, because then I know that this is making sense. So another thing that you can do is better upsells. So you can work on if a client is, saying that they want this big, beautiful arch, but realistically can only afford this arch, you can go in and maybe upsell them to, a middle of the road arch. Or if you always at this venue do a bar arrangement or a bar feature, and this person did not have that on that list, you could potentially try to upsell them into doing that. The next thing is reducing waste. Like flowers at the end of your event are costing you money. They're leftovers and just wasted money. So, how could you reduce that waste? How could you streamline systems so that the whole process from start to finish takes less time? How could you streamline systems in your shop that they're just less energy draw from you? How can you smarter source? We have 3 wholesalers in our area. We actually have 4, but I do business with 3 of them. And one of them, who I absolutely adore, and they actually help sponsor part of the Floral Rockstar workshops. And they came out here, like, trying to vet my business, and they wanna see how they can make it easier. Like, they wanna help me source for the best deal. Do your wholesalers do that? Do they want to do the best job they can, or are they coasting on their lazy ass laurels? Because there could be a wholesaler that wants your business more, that will be more competitive, that will serve you at a different level, which will increase your profit margins. More work isn't the solution. Better work, easier work, more impactful work is. And then going back to the profit first method, pay yourself like the CEO, you are not leftovers. Florists seem to just normalize not paying themselves. I was actually in my mastermind, you guys, talking about this because it is, and I don't mean to get on a pedestal, but like it's infuriating that I know that I can do huge impact to somebody who works with me. I can help hold them accountable. I can give them strategies that I know work. I can help you increase in some cases, your wedding revenue by 40%. I can help you see holes in your business that you can't. But most florists don't have money to invest in coaching. And I was so shocked today, the facilitator of the mastermind, and they were like, because I, of course, want to help people, but I also see my value in my time and being paid for my time, as everyone should. And I'm not being greedy or not being douchey, but when I have to pay someone to, watch my children, when I have to pay for all of these things to run this business. Do you know, guys, it costs like $1,000 a month just to even turn the Floral CEO business lights on and run my podcast, run my course platform, pay for all the tools. $1,000. So that to me, like, I want to make sure that I'm being really impactful for who I'm helping and I'm giving them the biggest return on impact that I possibly can. But so many florists are running around not paying themselves anything. They're overspending on product, they're underbidding, they're winging it with no fucking strategy and expect different results. You guys, if you are trying to do something bigger with your business, it is costing you money not to hire someone like me or not to be in a group surrounding yourself with people who want to be better because nobody changes something just out of the blue. Like nobody just all of a sudden comes up with this random solution that is going to just change their business. Nobody's going to come up with the random tenacity or the random effort to be like, all of a sudden, like, I can't do this anymore. I spent money to get here. But I also, when I did that, started to make more money and started to hold myself to a higher standard. And I like, that is one of the biggest things that I try to teach people is you deserve to make more money and you should hold yourself to a higher standard of worth because I, I mean, there is one woman in my mastermind that I absolutely adore her. And she is going to be quitting her job of 30 years and going off her own. And I believe in her more than probably anybody other than her husband, because I'm guessing her husband equally knows how fucking amazing she is, like I do. But that is what you need. You need somebody that believes in you so much and is going to push you to get uncomfortable, to do things, because if you don't, how is anything going to change? And I don't mean to be on a soapbox preaching, but when today they told me, like, if florists fundamentally don't make money, how are they going to be able to afford you helping them? And so maybe you should try to help wedding professionals. Like, I felt like, no, I know that there, I know because I've seen myself and I've seen other florists change their business to be profitable. But you have to wanna change. You have to sometimes go and dig a little deeper to make that change happen. Profit first was another level of me digging in. Paying yourself is a non-negotiable expense. What changes when you expect your business to fund your life? What changes when you expect your business to pay you? That your time is worth money. Your expertise, your artistry is worth money. Your business exists to support your life, not consume it. You deserve to be paid your value. Then build a business model that matches your life. I, say like today, even, because I'm in a group of entrepreneurs that some people have a, $500,000 business and, some of them have a 400,000, but I work part-time. Like my children are my biggest job in life. My floral business and my coaching business and, also like all these things, like the farm, my health, all these things like layer into a business model that matches my life. But all of it is centered around like, what kind of schedule do I actually want? Going into this year and the move has made me seriously reflective on what it is that it would take for me to get in a car and drive an hour to drop something off. I work part-time and have a pretty expansive business. And the thing is, I know that's possible because I do it. I have had very minimal other than coaching now for several months. And sure, I'm doing estimates and I'm meeting with people and I'm doing all those things. But I sure as shit am not working 40 hours a week. I think my scheduling availability in my calendar probably is around like 15 hours a week that somebody can schedule time with me. And that doesn't always get scheduled, obviously. The mastermind, probably takes 8 to 10 hours a month. Meeting with clients and planners and things like that probably takes 8 to 10. So I mean, working very part time, I run a very successful business, and you can too. Build offers and pricing that supports your lifestyle. Long term sustainability versus short term hustle. Do you want seasonal intensity with downtime? Like, I know, because I know this is how Minnesota is because it is freaking cold here in the winter, you guys. And I actually kind of hate, and I use the word hate because I have to wrap every single thing in plastic. I have to buy so much plastic to wrap a winter wedding, and it's so gross. It's just not my favorite. And then I'd love for you to ask, what kind of life is your current pricing actually buying you? Your current energy level or effort level, what is that actually buying you? Are you putting in $200,000, energy? Are you putting in like $50,000 energy? Are you bringing major CEO energy that you're like, I'm gonna build because I want to pay myself $100,000. I'm gonna build a $275,000 business so that I can do that. Because it all backs into formula if you're pricing correctly. So I want you to think about some simple action items. Calculate your average profit per wedding. Calculate what your average wedding is if you don't have that at this point. And then look at one price point. One thing or fee. If you are a retail florist, please go look at your delivery fees because I'm guessing it's could be better. If you are a wedding and event florist, look at actually what it's costing you to I know how much it costs me to get a U-Haul. If I'm going up to the cities and I'm keeping a U-Haul for 2 days and driving it back and forth, I know that that's a $250 expense. Like, do you understand those costs? So, like, pick one and really understand the costs. And then decide one boundary that really protects your profit. Like, I am going to have less than 5% waste at the end of my wedding. I am going to make sure that I'm accurately doing recipes and I'm not going and adding a bunch of shit. Whatever it is, you deserve to make money. So, you do not need more hustle. You need more clarity, confidence, and a business model that respects your time. If you're like, I still have no idea, I want to work with you. I want to support you. If you want to be around a group of like-minded women that are completely like some of my favorite humans, please join the Floral CEO Mastermind. It is a supportive environment. There are training topics that are needle movers for you that will help you see because you're also seeing what other people are doing. You are getting Voxer access to me, which is a group chat. Like if you have a question, a stumble, or whatever, and then I'm always asking like a question of the week. Like we did vision boards together. What did you do this week to support yourself in moving towards your vision board? If you're really looking for a personalized money strategy, send me a DM or email me at Jenny, Jeni, at floralceo.com. And I would love to help build a personalized money strategy for you. How can you make this profitable? How can you make more sales? Like, where are the holes? Where can we plug the boat? And then, if you just need more experience and you want to start elevating your portfolio, the workshops, there's 3 workshops coming up, you guys. Like one March 10th and 11th at Essence Event Center. And it is going to be epic. It is so excited. Like the cake person just was emailing me because we're going to have an epic cake install. I always love cake installs. They're like that's kind of like one of my favorite things is doing cake installs, and this is not going to disappoint. Then we have the business bouquets and branding workshop in April, the 26th through the 28th. You can actually come and see my shop. Come and see my home based studio, hang out with me. Like, we're going to talk business. Any question is not like I don't care if you bring a notebook full of questions. Proceed. I want to hear them because I want to help you be more profitable. I had a local florist, like, do a coaching session with me, and she was just like, we actually bid the same wedding, and she's like, "Jenny, I just always never understood, like, how you can just be so helpful because I want you to win as much as I wanna win. But, like, it gives me a totally different sense of satisfaction for you to win because I know that all of this time and energy, every time I hear success, like, that's what makes this worth it." And I wholeheartedly believe if somebody pours into their business with the right strategy, with some basic design skills and principles and an aesthetic eye, that you can do this. If you want more support, please reach out. Don't just sit there. I had a business coach ask me that I was interviewing to hire, and they were like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna think about it. And then they said, like, okay, what are strategies that you're when you leave, if you don't hire me, that are you or you can put in place that will help you get the result that I could help you get? And with, whatever their strategy or whatever. And I was just like, I didn't have an answer for that. I didn't know what I was gonna do. And it's hard to sometimes because you don't know what that secret sauce is for you yet. Or you don't know what you don't know. And even I had one of my mastermind girls that's gonna be quitting her job, like, we even just went through her emails because she was having, a lull in her closing rate. Do you even know what your closing rate is? That's another great question. Like, if it's bad, like, you need to look at that. And so she asked for my help to look at it, and I was like, "Oh my god, these do not sound like you," and we tweaked them, and she got such a better response and started closing deals again. A outside person sometimes is the best medicine for someone's business because they can see you're so blinded by being in it that it's hard to really, really kind of step back and have this 10,000-foot view, and especially when I have a view of a million different floral businesses, like, I feel like I can key into and as a life and mindset coach, I can also see where maybe some of that is coming in to play. Like, how are we mentally screwing ourselves over? Because that's what I did for a long time. I mentally screwed myself by saying, like, I'm creating flowers and it's fun and it's beautiful and it's art. Like, should I be really paid for that? And then I'd go on Instagram. I opted out of Instagram for so long because I just felt like this total imposter syndrome, and I was like, "I'm not like these other bitches, so I can't charge more because I'm not doing stuff like this florist and this florist. I'm not as cool as." And then, like, eventually, uh, it was funny because there's a local florist that has a Flower Friends party every year, and it's super fun. And she was talking about, just like growing her business and, how she just wasn't cool like a lot of the other florists. And I looked at her, I was like, "You are so fucking cool. How do you not know that?" I was like, "I barely know you and I know that." And she was just like, "Well, it's like kind of weird to say that." And I was like, "I'm fucking cool. I am so cool. Like, I love myself. I love my business. I love what I do. I love what I create. I love the life that I live. I'm fucking cool. I ride a motorcycle, you guys, and have mini donkeys, full sleeve tattoo. I'm fucking cool. I'm a great mom. That's fucking cool. Like, I work so hard at being a good mom. Like, so many moms should take an example, like, after being in Bloomington and coming to down here and just seeing even how momming is different and the standards of momming is different, like, it's just so different, and, like, I know I'm, like, doing such a great and she's like, "I've never really looked at it this way." I was like, "Well, I barely know you, and I think you're a badass person, and look at all you've done." I was like, "Look at where we're standing right now," and it's hard to, again, see that when you're standing in the quicksand. But if you step back and you're like, "Look at this really cool shop that I mean, even when people come here, they're like, "Look at this, like, look at this. Like, look at all this." I have cats running around, like, greeting people, and you come in and there's mini donkeys in the background, and you walk in and my whole shop fills the whole bottom of this building, and this building is so cool. But even when I was in Bloomington, like, it was such a cool setup and I poured my heart into it. Like, everything is, like, just a reflection of your love for this, and, like, it's really apparent with me in my business, like, how much I love this, and I know that you probably love this just as much as I do, and if you don't, it's going to be probably a very short-lived job. This job is about passion, it's about, like, just this deep desire to just create beautiful things. And it's really hard to articulate what that exact same thing, that, like, little secret, little saucy thing is about, like, being passionate about creating cool shit. But when I started to change and I started doing some design classes and I started, like, exposing myself to, like, it just shifted for me that I'm like, I could just create and, like, make so many cool things that would not only inspire others, but inspire myself. And when I started to, like, start to look at weddings that way, my average wedding value went up because I was able to sell cool shit. I wasn't like, "Hey, let's Walmart for weddings. You guys want baby's breath and mason jars?" I could totally do that. No, I can't anymore, actually. I do way cooler shit. Like, if you want some fun pin frogs and some really cool containers with, like, a beautiful aesthetic of these, like, custom colored taper candles and these cool holders, like, that I can do. But I'm too much of an artist to wanna keep doing lame and making no money. And you might be at the point right now that, like, just anything is better than nothing, but when you grow, someday, you'll be like, "I wanna make cool shit and make more money doing it." And I can help you get there. So, thank you so much for listening, flower friends. I've just, like, been so engrossed in, like, having somebody tell me to like, it was today, actually, that maybe florists weren't, like, the most ideal client for me to help because I am so passionate about people making more money. And, like, to feel like it was hopeless, I was like, "Fuck no, it isn't." Like, absolutely not. I know that you, because they asked, like, "Really, do florists make money?" And I was like, "Some of them do." I know that because I see the Audi coming rolling in, the Audi A7 rolling into our wholesaler, and, I've coached the florists that have a quarter of a million or three-quarters of a $1 million business and just wanna bring it to the next level. Like, there's so much potential, and I know it feels hard, but I am rooting for you, flower friend. Thank you so much for listening, flower friend, and you have an amazing flower-filled day.